guys, what's up? GVK Collectibles, and welcome to Mythical Mountain Monday. So, as I said last week, we were going to do something different. We're going to continue doing that, but I also did get some stuff off the auction that I did want to show off, of course, for you guys. Just because I feel like it'll be like a healthy mix of both of where I'm going to be talking about books I've been currently reading and some of the cool stuff that I got during the auction, which I'm really excited to show off. So, before we jump into the actual comic books that I read this week, let's jump into some of the stuff that I got from the auction. So this first one is pretty cool. This is only going to be like a select handful of stuff. You'll probably get to see more of this stuff on my Instagram page. I will post, but it is a complete set of X-Men plus Fantastic Four. This was actually a series that came out last year, and it was this kind of ties in with Dawn of X and Power of X, so it's really cool. It's actually really cool because these are all essentially interconnecting variant covers. So you got these first two at the bottom, these are the top right here, and then you got these two. Let me see if I'm getting it right. Oh, wrong way. Yep, right. And you got this on the bottom too, which is really cool. Really beautiful. The art is absolutely gorgeous. I think it is the same artist who did some of the variants for, what was it, of Power of X. There was a similar cover to this of where it was interconnected, and this one's like my favorite because it's got one of my favorite characters, Betsy Braddock, aka Psylocke, now Captain Britain. I think it's just a beautiful rendered Captain Britain. I will put the artist, of course, down below, as always. But yeah, that's really cool. And it was actually a series I actually wanted to read, but I had jumped into it too late. Next one is, this one's really cool, from Marvel, of course. It is Blade Runner #1, so this is actually not to be connected to anything with the stuff going on at Titan Comics, whether it be Origin or 2029. I did get this one. It's super cool. It is the adaptation of, the official comic book adaptation of the movie, which I really love. It's really cool. Got that cool kind of 80s art that I really enjoy and I really love with this type of kind of comic. This next one, Tony always somehow gets me with the Batgirl stuff, and I hadn't been reading the New 52, well, not New 52, the Rebirth stuff, and that series kind of came to the end, but it got this really cool Batgirl cover of Batgirl 47 with Batgirl. It's kind of like a tarot card almost, or like a Jack Trade card, where you got Batgirl and you got the Joker. This is done by the Dotsons, Terry and Rachel Dotson. They do a phenomenal job, and also they do that, even though it's not said on the Fantastic Four set, X-Men Fantastic Four, they did do the interiors, I believe, for that series. If I'm not right, I will, put the description saying, I'll tell you who the true artist on that book is, but really cool. And this artist is becoming probably one of my favorite ones, and strangely enough, this book also has another favorite artist that I've been really liking and enjoying so far. It's this really cool Peach Momoko variant of Immortal Wonder Woman. This is a series done by, the art's done by Jem Bartel, and this book was one of my absolute favorites from DC Rebirth. I actually missed getting this variant because I wasn't too sure about it, but now, as soon as I saw it on the auction, I knew I had to pick it up because it is such a beautiful cover. Mokodo does a fantastic job, and also Bartel, interior-wise, does really awesome art. So, with that out of the way, that was only a moniker of what I got from the auction. So, anyway, let's jump into it. So, I think the first book we'll jump into, actually, I want to show this off, too. Even though it was a book that I technically didn't read, it's just, speaking of Jem Bartel is doing these awesome, Women History Month variants, and it's cool because they are done of the character. This is Shuri from Black Panther, of course, but she is done, her costume and a lot of, their the clothing that they're wearing is actually what was in fashion at the time, their debut year, which is really cool. Shuri debuted in 2005, so she is relatively, I want to say a newer character, but at the same time, not really new because it was 2005, and that was, God, a really long time ago, so it's kind of hard to believe that, but really beautiful art. I love Jem Bartel. Art so much. Definitely up there, Baptar, her, and Peach Momoko are some of my newer favorite artists that I love. But, so first things first, let's get into Star Wars. So there was only one Star Wars comic today, and it was Dr. Aphra. Dr. Aphra has actually been a fun book. I actually, she was introduced in the Karen Gillan's run of Darth Vader, and I really fell in love with the character. I actually didn't read the solo series because at the time where I was actually in between moving from Utah to Florida, so it was kind of hard for me to pick up the story. So, but I've been catching up on the story, and I've ultimately started reading as soon as this is taking place after Empire Strikes Back. And it's just a fun, this series has just been absolutely fun. It is a fun book. It just kind of shows, it's like Star Wars Explained, who is a YouTuber I really love. Whenever he talks about this book, he mainly talks about it saying it's kind of the more goofy side. It feels very much like the older, like the original Marvel comics of Star Wars back in the day, which is really fun, and I can definitely see that as they explore not so much like the Force and everything, but they more explore the kind of like all the ancient history of the Star Wars, because it is such a big galaxy, such a big universe in general, so you can do a lot of cool things. She's teamed up with Sanosaurus. She was actually employment of Dominus Tag, who is actually a character from Legends, and she made her way into the Marvel continuity, not Marvel continuity, the main Star Wars continuity, I think, with Disney. So it's really, really cool. And it's really cool, and you also get cool locations here and there. You get Canto Bright, and you get really, really cool locations too. Really beautiful book, really fun. It's just a fun adventure book within the Star Wars universe. So if you're looking to definitely jump into the Star Wars universe, I definitely suggest jumping into Dr. Aphra. Hopefully the trade for Volume 2 for this, because it's technically Dr. Aphra Volume 2, the trade should be coming out, because they had recently done, I think it's the first 5 issues or first 6 are the first story arcs, the first part of the story arc for that new Dr. Aphra comic. So, let's see. Oh, let's do this, because this doesn't technically count, because it was a book that came out last week. It is Noctera, from Scott Snyder, Tony S. Daniel, and Tomi Mori, I believe. Sorry. Oh boy. Sorry, guys. But yeah, this is actually, I had seen people talk about this book. I wasn't too sure about it, but luckily, I picked it up from Tony and everybody at Mythical Mountain. They held it for me for a bit just because I wasn't too sure. And I think it's a fun book. It's really cool. So basically it's revolving around this story of where one day the sun just completely disappears, and there's these creatures called, I forget, let me pull up the book real quick. But there's these kind of monsters that pop out called shades, which are very, very interesting and very unique. It's very cool. The art in the book is absolutely killer. Look at that. It looks phenomenal, in my opinion. But yeah, it is very interesting, and it ends on a very interesting cliffhanger where it follows Val Riggs, and basically it kind of follows her point of view of where she was before what they call, where were you that morning, where the big PM hit. Basically the PM, all of a sudden the sun goes out. And it also follows, she's an adopted kid, and she actually has a younger brother, an adopted brother. Mori, I believe, or Mori, and basically what's happening is they're this dark, essentially the shades and everything. You're fine unless you get infected. It starts with the gums, and that's slowly happening with her brother. So there's ultimately, they're trying to find a way, she's trying to find a way to save him, essentially, and there's this old guy who's, because what Val is, she is a kind of a truck driver. She goes from essentially a transporter, essentially, taking people from different kind of outposts where there's some civilization going on here or there, which is really, really cool. A lot of unique world building. The shades are really cool, really uniquely designed. I really love the unique monster designs, and the art, as I said, absolutely fantastic in the book. And it ends with this kind of mystery dude who's kind of hunting the old man down. I won't say exactly why, but it is pretty cool. So yeah, Nocturnal is really cool. I'm actually interested in continuing the book to see how it is. I'm very interested. The art looks phenomenal. Scott Snyder is a great writer, in my opinion. which is a great thing. Like, comics, everybody has their own opinion on stuff, so it's like, if you don't like this, that's fine. And I kind of enjoyed it. It's a cool post-apocalyptic story, which we've been getting a lot of, which I really love. So yeah, I would definitely suggest Nocturnal. So next issue, I think we'll talk about Blade Runner Origins. Well, before we talk about Blade Runner Origins, the camera's about to cat out, so I will be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. And as I said, the next one of the other books I read was Blade Runner The Origins. Now this is a companion series going on right now with 2029 going on right now, which is the sequel series to 2019, which was a phenomenal series, one of the best. It was actually one of the first books I read from Titan Comics, and it's just a great book. So Blade Runner is really, really cool, of where the origin story is. Origins, it says it in the title, it's basically the beginning of the first, and it's the stories of the first Blade Runners on the LAPD, which is really, really cool, and it's set in 2009, which is very, very, very different, but it's like really, really cool. The coolest thing I think with these, the Blade Runner comics, is they do a fantastic job of where you would think that these would feel kind of tacked on, they wouldn't understand the universe, that is not the case. These books completely understand the lore and kind of feel of the Blade Runner universe, which is really, really cool, and we were able to get that with 2019. 2019 was absolutely a great hit. It was actually one of the biggest, one of the first books I actually had on my pull at Mythical, so that being said, it's probably one of my favorite books. I've been really enjoying this book. It's really cool. It has, it's like one of the few crime books, like it's a very neo-noir kind of crime book, which is really, really fantastic. The art looks great, the writing is solid, and yeah, I can't recommend Blade Runner Origins anymore. This is only the second issue, so you can probably still find issue 1 and 2, as 2 was recently released last week, so you can still find this one, and I definitely suggest picking it up. So next one was Red Sonja 25. Now this is a brand new creative team let me get the comics real quick. Oh jeez, I am just dropping my comics today. I feel bad. But we'll talk about, so this is chapter 25, Chainmail. So basically the new writing team, I should say, is, where are you? Is Luke Lieberman, Drew Moss, and Deborah Kelly, who is the colorist, and you also got Hazan Os. I'm going to butcher that, so I'll put your name down below. I will actually put, with each of the books popping up, if I don't mention the artist or anything, or the writers directly, with all the books I'm going to talk about, I will put up the whole creative team pretty much right here in the, not the description, but like the little thing right here. But basically this is a story set 10 years after where we left off, and it's basically one of the queen of Haikarna, God, I cannot pronounce it right. Haikana, basically where Red Sonja is from. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong and I'm butchering it. So, but basically the queen is essentially dying, and she kind of wants to see Red Sonja one last time before she goes. Actually, Drew Moss, if I'm correct, from judging, he did the art on Vampirella Red Sonja, which I absolutely loved. That was a phenomenal book. I had a really good time reading it. And also comes with a little backup story too, which is really, really cool. But yeah, it's really, really cool. It's interesting to see where this new creative team is going to go for Red Sonja, just in general, because I felt the previous, but you also get awesome covers. This is a Jay Lee cover, of course. Jay Lee's just awesome. Like, he's just been knocking it out of the park with the recent Red Sonja covers. So I definitely suggest picking it up. It's a good jumping on point for the series in general, because it's, once again, brand new creative team, so you kind of, they do mention stuff here and there, but it's not anything too bad if you were familiar with the previous issue. So I definitely suggest picking up Red Sonja. But those are my picks, as I said. Next one, this is the last one before we get into my top 3 picks, was Excalibur. Excalibur was actually really awesome, as it was Excalibur still having the struggle of getting Betsy Braddock, who had died, well, quote-unquote died, in Outer World during the Sword X of Swords event, but basically that happened, but the Captain Britain Corps also reemerged too, and it's all Betsy Braddocks, of course, all different kinds of Betsy Braddocks from different universes. So they're basically trying to get her back into the 616, where they have to close the gate to Outer World. Essentially, they have found Betsy, like they found a body, but it isn't truly her. So they call in Quanon. Quanon is actually the woman who Betsy had in. So basically, if you are familiar with Psylocke at all, and Betsy Braddock is Psylocke, Quanon was originally Psylocke before Betsy Braddock took over Quanon's body. Comics, it's ridiculous, but it's really, really cool because they've done really amazing things, I think, with both Quanon and Betsy, and it was really cool because I've been kind of dying to see this happen. They teased it in Fallen Angels. Like, she's been really good developed, like Psylocke's been really good developed in Hellions, I think. She's fantastic in that book. That book generally is fantastic. And I also love Betsy Braddock, so it is cool to see them two finally kind of interact with each other, because they are essentially very similar to each other, because they had Betsy was in Quanon's body for the longest time. It was really cool, and it's really the help of Quanon that she's able to get Betsy back into her proper body. It's really, really cool. I think it's really like a fantastic book. Excalibur, I think, has been one of my favorites, but I'm really I've enjoyed it. I know there's a lot of people who kind of have mixed opinions on it, but like I really love Betsy Braddock as Captain Britain. I love kind of the whole dealing with the magical side of the mutants is really, really cool and really well done. But their characters, the supporting cast is all great, and yeah, I love this book. I love this series, and I was really happy for this. I can't wait for the next issue to see what happens next, because I really like the idea of Quanon and Betsy kind of like being friends almost, but like kind of like coming together as friends. So yeah, that was Excalibur. So these are going to be the 3 books that are coming up, are going to be my top picks for this week. So we got a few. So the first one I'm going to talk about, this is my number 3 pick, or whatever. They're not really, well, yeah, number 3 pick, I will say. It is the brand new Vampirella vs. Purgatory from, Purgatory is clearly from Chaos Comics. It's really, really cool. So basically, the story is that Vampirella's mom, because this has nothing to do with the Christopher Priest run or the Vengeance of Vampirella run, this is actually just like a lot of these Versus titles, or they crossover titles, they are standalone stories. So basically, Vampirella's mom, Lilith, is trying to there are 32 people, I think like 35 actually. Let me double check, because I want to be right. Oh, it's the Tezekabin. I'm not going to pronounce it. I'm going to put that in the description, but apparently there are several of these people in this world who are like purely good, and they can't that's the thing, like they're purely good, and like if one of them tips themselves into like being corrupt, there are 36, there we go, I got it, I was kind of wrong, but like if one of them basically turns from being a saint to a sinner, essentially, if like Lilith converts them, they essentially will commence Armageddon on Earth. And of course that doesn't sit well with Vampirella, of course, because her mom is a pain in her ass. But you also get Purgatory too, who is she is essentially kind of like this demon thing. I don't know completely too much about her, but she basically Vampirella and her have the same goal, but they have different ways of achieving it, where they're going to clash in it, because like Purgatory is a lot more violent. Vampirella is a lot more she is more than she can be violent, but she doesn't like being violent towards humans, because this is essentially Earth is her adopted home. The dialogue is really, really good. It was written by Ray Fox, who did Constantine, which I thought the New 52 Constantine, I believe. And I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but the dialogue is really awesome and really great. I really love his writing in this. I think a little bit more than Constantine. It's a fun, just a fun little crazy book, which is cool. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this series goes. Usually Dynamite, I've been nothing but enjoying their recent minis currently right now, whether it be Vampirella Dark Powers, Red Sonja's Superpowers. and even like Red Sonja Vampirella, Red Sonja Age of Chaos. They've been all pretty fun books, so I'm very hoping for the exact same thing. I think this is a, much like all Dynamite comics, it is a 5-issue mini, so there'll be 5 issues for this series, which, and once again, covers nothing short of phenomenal from Dynamite. Like, it's exactly what you expect from Dynamite. Like, I think they, comparative to Marvel, they're like the second company to put out like some really, really good variant covers. So yeah, that is my first pick for what is it for comics to read this week. Those are some of my first recommendation. Before we jump into my next recommendation, the camera's about to cut off, so I will be right back. Guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. So the next comic that my number 2 recommendation is Detective Comics 1034. This is a brand new creative team of Mariko Tamanaki, Dan Mora on cover and art, and colors by Jody Berlelli. Oh my god, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. As always, I will put the creative teams down below. And essentially, for those of you who don't know, this is the exact same creative team from Dark Detective from the Future State comics, which was absolutely phenomenal. I wasn't sure, and I really loved Dark Detective, but I wasn't sure how well it was going to transition into Detective Comics, because I really loved a lot of stuff Peter J. Tomasi was doing with Detective Comics at that point. But man, I love this book. This is the art is killer in the book, and the writing is really, really good too. It's actually really cool and unique because, once again, Bruce Wayne, while he is kind of a billionaire, he has lost his money and he doesn't have necessarily a lot of it. He can't do what he was previously doing, this as established because of the Joker War with Joker War, of course. So he's kind of living in an apartment in downtown Gotham, and it's actually really cool because you actually get to see kind of Bruce kind of interact with a lot of his neighbors who, you don't normally see that. You don't usually normally see that side of Bruce Wayne, of where he's dealing with people. And the primary story is about, there is Mayor Nakado, who had, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong again. I am so bad. Nakato, but basically he's trying to kind of help Gotham in a way where he was one of the cops who was actually affected by the Joker War. He lost his eye. So, and he has a big anti-vigilante, anti-Batman, Huntress, anybody with a mask, essentially. And that was a big part of what Dark Detective was talking about, the Magistrate, and the private, that private police force, which is really, really cool. But it's, the story begins with, this mayor gala getting crashed by these party crashers who were a part of the Joker gang. They were from leftovers from Joker War, and basically kind of tracked him down, hunting phones. And there's just something that going on. But one of one of his neighbors has actually gone up missing, and we don't know exactly where it's going, and that's going to be the kind of main crux of the book, this story arc going forward, which I think is really cool because it's getting into the detective side as opposed to the more, because I feel like the Batman title is the more kind of superhero-esque of the character. Detective Comics focuses on him being a detective, which is really cool. And there's also a really, really cool backup from Josh Williamson for Damian. He's kind of meeting with his mother. And it actually is kind of like a little preview for the Robin book, which I think I'm actually going to pick up because it seems really, really excited, really cool. Robin's kind of doing, Damian's kind of doing his own thing apart from the Bat family, which is really, really cool. Damian's actually grown on me as a character for a while, and the backup of the art's really great, too. I will put up the creative team on the Demon and Detective backup story, which is going to probably go into the Robin book, which is really, really cool, and I'm really excited to actually pick that book up. Yep, it's the same creative team, which is cool. But yeah, Detective Comics 1034, really, really solid out of the gate, and you also could get these cool shots. You get the different people. You get Penguin, Huntress. You get one of the Peacekeepers, which is really, really cool. Mayor Nako. Nakato, but like once again, phenomenal art, really really cool. Can't wait to continue the series. It's one of the first books, like hardcore DC books that I picked up in recent years. Recently as in 2016, like I stopped kind of reading comics for a bit. Then it wasn't until like 2018 or 2017, I think, I started to read comics again, and this was one of the ones that I decided to read again. So my number one pick for number one recommendation for this week, and it is, I think, no shock to anybody. I've been completely talking about this comic for coming out for a while now. I continuously mention it on the older kind of Mythical Mountains where we talk about the auction stuff. And of course, it is Alien #1 from Philip Kennedy Johnson with art of Salvador Lacotto and Guru Efek, I think if I'm pronouncing that right, who is the colorist on it. And this book is really, really cool. So, once again, also cool variants. We get the main cover by Lee Hungjin, I believe. In Hungjin. Peach Makoto, of course. This is absolutely one of my favorite variants, I think, from this. David Finch from Death Knight. He did the Batman. He did Tom Kane's run on Batman on the art. And, of course, you get this really, really cool Nakata, I believe, or Nakut. Naka, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, but I'll put that right there. I'll put all the artists for the variants, of course. So this book is really, really cool. So it opens up with a Weyland-Yutani, a former colonial marine who is turned Weyland, who is a Weyland-Yutani security division, basically kind of recapturing his nightmare of when he actually survived a hive attack and he was actually on a bug hunt. And it's really, really cool, and you get like the cool shots of the hive and everything, and really, really cool dialogue. Philip Kennedy Johnson's a really, really good writer. I loved his stuff on Superman War World for Future State. Thought it was absolutely fantastic. It was also my first experience of reading some of his stuff. So it was really, really cool. And it's actually cool because they actually bring in a lot of stuff from the Alien books. So he's talking to this Gabriel, I believe it's Gabriel Cruz. So he is a retired security chief for Weyland-Yutani on this station called Epsilon Station. Epsilon Station is outside, I think, of Earth. So it's really cool because we are actually going to be getting a story close to, alien story close to Earth, which is really, really cool. Basically, he survived this hive attack, but he's also, like, kind of retiring. But there's also something else going on of where he's dying. We don't know what he's dying of. But he kind of goes back to Earth, kind of talk to his son, Danny, who, unknowing to him, is actually very anti-Weyland-Yutani, which is actually really cool that they explore that within the book. Which I feel like we all know, people who watch the Alien movies all know Weyland-Yutani are the bad guys, but we haven't really seen, like, kind of like, people opposing Weyland-Yutani. Like, you don't see, like, not terrorists, like, like, Weyland groups, Weyland-Yutani groups, who, like, they're a mega corporation that probably run every facet that you could think of, which is really, really cool. And you get Flash, he has a bit of an argument with, Danny has a bit of an argument with, Gabriel and Danny have an argument, basically, saying, like, they did stuff to his brother. We don't know exactly what. I think we'll figure that out later in the book, but it's just, like, something is happening behind the scenes. But we also get flashbacks to the hive attack, and there's actually cool things, too, where his therapist is a bishop model, which is really, really cool and a really good way to connect it to the movies, too. Which I love that idea that Bishop is just a standard kind of android unit that you get synthetic you get to see. But basically, at this point, Danny actually stole his dad's card, basically a Weyland-Yutani security access code to be able to get to Epsilon Station. So basically, this group raids Weyland-Yutani to basically kind of take pictures, show what they're doing, and basically destroy the site to basically get rid of what the hell ever was going on. But look, unfortunately, some stuff happens. They kill some there's some scientists that ultimately cause a lockdown. killing them, but ultimately also opening some facehugger tubes, and we get some facehuggers. So this is very much a preview for what the story is going to be going forward. There's actually something cool I will show here. We don't know the full context of it. Like, I don't even know the full context of it, but you get this, the Xenomorph 5. You also get this kind of seal-looking alien from Species, so that is going to be very interesting to see what that is going forward. I think it's a new version of the Xenomorph. It's going to be interesting to see that, because while Dark Horse has done that in the past, this is done by Marvel, and, you know, Marvel is owned by Disney, and Disney owns Fox, so what if this has implications for the movies and stuff? There is going to be the TV show, of course, set on Earth. I would love to actually see this story kind of be the basis for that movie or that TV show. And it's also note in the beginning they do mention Alien, and they mention Aliens. No mention of Alien 3 or Resurrection, clearly, because this is set way before Resurrection. So it is going to be very, very interesting to see this story going forward. I love the book. The writing is really, really good. The art, I feel like, I don't want to say it could be better. I understand why the art is the way it is. It's kind of like this hyper-realistic looking style, but it isn't necessarily my bag. Which, like, I don't have a problem with Salvador at all. I think I believe he did the Darth Vader run, which I absolutely, Karen Gillan's Darth Vader run, which I love that book. So, the art is good. The art isn't just my thing. I don't want to just say out flat out, oh, he's a bad artist, because I think that's a little rude. I think I suck as an artist when I did. So, but yeah, that is my #1 recommendation for this week is Alien by Philip Kennedy Johnson. Definitely pick it up if you can. A bunch of variants, cool if you want to. So yeah. The camera's about to cut out once again one more time, so with that being said, I will be right back real quick. And I'm back. So, as I said, that was my last recommendation, was Alien. So my top 3 recommendations were Vampirella versus Purgatory, Detective Comics 1034, and we have Alien #1, of course. So I'm very excited to see a lot of these stories continue. I'm very excited for next week of what we're going to have in store for next week. But yeah, that being said, that's everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. I hope you like this kind of newer format that we're kind of I'm doing for Mythical Mountain Monday, because I think like talking about the books that I actually really like to read and enjoy is going to be really fun to talk about. Yeah, I think I think that may be primarily it. I think this is going to be how the show is going to go forward. I will show auction stuff like I just did with this video once in a while, but ultimately I think it's going to be more focused on comics that I'm currently reading. And if there were comics that I didn't read, you didn't see me pull at all, definitely tell me in the comments below what kind of comics you would like me to see pick up, depending on how I and see what my reactions are of it, if you would like to see that. Also, make sure to check us out. Make sure to hit like and hit subscribe. Hit the little bell notifications to get notified when we come out Monday. What's in the Box Wednesday, and Figure Review Fridays come out. We upload 3 videos a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also, check us out on our respective Mercari shops, too. We got both a lot of good things. I want us to say check us out on Instagram, too. GVK Collectibles, Jack's Pop Guy. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great start to your week. Oh, and also, not to mention, it is Godzilla vs. Kong week. So I'm very, very excited for that film to come out. It'll be coming out the 31st. I'm going to be watching it on HBO Max. Can't watch it in theaters right now because I don't have the vaccine, but as soon as I get that vaccine and it's through my body, if it's still in IMAX, I'm going to see it like late April.